Nathan Ivey Show is supported by listeners. Go to www.patreon.com/Nathan Ivey Show and help Nathan keep the show independent.
Yeah. Talking to my mirror like I love you so much. Curving on my critics like I heard you, so what? You can't kill my confidence, I think I'm the man. Tally all the I ever gave on my head. Lately I've been living like I can't take a loss. They ain't wanna help me, that's what made me a boss. You can't kill my confidence, I think I'm the man. We don't give a that's what they don't understand.
I'm back again like flu season. I broke records while loose leafing. I'm coming down my roof, leaving. Don't give a I don't care. Did the for my lonesome. No wonder now I'm on one. No shortcuts on that long run. All I really want is my share. Get on my gut, on my told them it's nothing. In the discussion, for them feelings I throw on my pain on percussion. It's disgusting. I hear them bragging about that they did, and it do not move me, not in the least. They ain't been dropping no seeds in the soil, but swear that you almost spotted the feast. I've been on go mode, showboat, rowboat, wave ride. Cool shorty, too naughty, pool party, wet for the face ride. Annie up, penny down, hand me down, thrift store, old drip. New money, too funny, old shorty talking about, I'm on a now. Can't get
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome back. Nate Ivey with you. It's a beautiful Tuesday morning. Let's get into it, family. Many things to discuss this morning. At the top of the list, our governor, the governor of Ohio, has signed a very controversial bill expanding stand your ground laws in Ohio. I want to tell you what you need to know. To me, quite honestly, family, it's real simple. This poses a threat to the black family in the state of Ohio, period, straight up. And I told you as much 3-4 weeks ago. We had a special guest on who runs a nonprofit throughout the state of Ohio, raising awareness about this particular issue. I brought her on because I wanted to raise awareness about this. And, Mike DeWine signed it. I'm not surprised. It's a complete betrayal of what he said he was going to do. But let me take you back a little bit. Let's start this conversation properly. I want to take you back. I want to take you back just a little bit in a time machine. I want to go back to August 4th, 2019. A 24-year-old named Connor Betts walked into Ned Pepper's bar in the Oregon district in Dayton, Ohio, and opened fire. He killed 9 people and injured 17 others. He was standing in the entrance of this bar in the Oregon district. He was later fatally shot by police officers who responded within seconds, like within a minute after the first shots were fired. And people have forgotten this. This was a mass shooting that took place in Ohio. It's just amazing how we have very, very bad memories. And I really believe that the gun manufacturers, the gun lobby in this country is behind manipulating the media and controlling our culture in a way that it kind of like we move on really, really quickly from this. Because if you remember correctly, there were actually 2 mass shootings that happened on the same day. Remember this? It was 2 mass shootings. One happened down in Texas. The other happened in Dayton, Ohio. And this sicko named Connor Betts, 24 years old. You 24 years old. This is what you're doing with your time at 24? That's what you go to a bar for? Authorities went back to his house after going through his things. They found out that he had a troubled history, a troubled past. And looking at some of his activities on social media, they sort of put the dots together to realize that he was a problem, obviously. Y'all might have forgot this, but he was equipped with a 100-round drum magazine. Remember this? 100-round drum magazine. I never forget it because I had a contact with the Ohio Buckeye Firearms Association, a white dude named Joe Eaton, and he makes the rounds and does a lot of media shows. He and I would go back and forth about the legitimacy of some of these stand your ground laws and some of the policy initiatives that his organization was pushing for. I never forget he came on this program and tried to convince us that it was perfectly okay to have a 100-round drum magazine. He had a 100-round drum magazine. Now, you can say what you want to say about having guns, but in these days and times, why do you need to have a 100-round drum magazine? What are you fighting? Werewolves? Ghouls? Goblins? He fired 41 rounds into the crowd in less than 30 seconds. Think about that second. Think about that. He fired 41 rounds into a crowded bar in Dayton in less than 30 seconds. Y'all remember this? I don't know, maybe if you can't forget it. Like, this is America. Welcome to it. And right after that, the governor of Ohio at the time, Mike DeWine, said that he wanted to see some substantive gun measures and gun reforms put in place by the state of Ohio. Now, that was many years ago. How many of those measures have been put in place year to date? 0. Your governor, Mike DeWine, said that he was not going to sign any kind of stand your ground measures that did not include, he came in with a whole list of things that he wanted. But the Republicans that run the state legislature said, F you, Mike DeWine, you ain't got no damn spine. What you going to do about it? And guess what? They were right. Because he signed it anyway. He signed it anyway. Yeah. He signed it anyway. Some people might forget that there was a vigil. There was a vigil up in Dayton, Ohio on August 4th, right? And there were a lot of people, it was on August 5th, and there were a lot of people who, from what I was not there, but from what I understand from the media reports, it was packed. And you had religious leaders and political leaders and all people coming together in Dayton talking about the mass shooting. And guess who took the stage that day? Your governor, Mike DeWine. And as the story goes, he was drowned out. His voice was drowned out by the voices of the people in the crowd who were shouting and chanting, do something. They kept saying, do something, do something, do something. If y'all missed this, I got the clip for you. Check this out. Got to see this.
We are here tonight because we know that we cannot ease the pain of those families who have lost someone. We also know that we want to do something. So what we do tonight by this amazing crowd is to say to them, we love you, we care very, very deeply about you. We want to do everything that we can. Everything that we can.
See, I told you, he got drowned out by the crowd. The crowd was like, do something. He coming up there trying to have another moment. Nothing I say can express the concerns that we have and the feelings and the people that died and blah, bruh. Knock all that nonsense off. You're the fucking governor. What are you going to do? And he's done absolutely nothing. The Republicans that control the state legislature have done nothing whatsoever to curb gun violence until this week when Mike DeWine signed the Stand Your Ground bill. A complete betrayal of the public trust in the state of Ohio. A complete betrayal. But who's surprised? That's why I didn't vote for this bumpkin. Who's surprised by this? Remember the black dude that got killed at Walmart and Mike DeWine sat on the tape and wouldn't release it to the public because it made the police officers look bad? Remember that? Have y'all forgotten? Get the fuck out of your feelings and wake up. This man said a couple things that made complete logical sense when the pandemic first hit, and everybody looking for a Messiah was like, oh, he's a great leader. No, the hell he's not. He don't care. When did he care? Give me an example. A complete betrayal of the public trust. Mike DeWine said he would not sign this unless some of the measures, the gun control and gun reform measures were put in place. None of them were put in place by the Republican-controlled state legislature. He signed it anyway. And what did he sign exactly? He signed an expansion of the Stand Your Ground law. So essentially, they have erased the duty to retreat. They've extended it beyond the house, right, to now wherever you are. To me, this represents a clear and present danger to melanated people in the state of Ohio. I don't care what nobody says. I don't trust these Karens and Darrens in this state. I don't trust you one bit. You got mofos run around here bearing false witness, calling the police on black folks for a little bit of nothing. Now, when they realize that they have even more of a legal authority to use lethal force, you think they're not going to use it? We didn't learn anything from what happened with Trayvon Martin. Now, does it give somebody the absolute license to go out there and just shoot somebody? No. But does it take more steps in that direction? Absolutely it does. Absolutely it does. And again, how would this have prevented what happened in Dayton back in 2019? It would not. All this is going to do, this expansion of your Stand Your Ground law in Ohio, all this is going to do is get somebody killed. That's what it's going to do. It's going to get somebody killed. What's up? Good morning to you, Brenda. That's it. You know, you're going to have road rage incidences where people normally would have retreated and just left the situation. Now I don't have to because I feel threatened. So wait a minute. We already are dealing with this in terms of law enforcement. So now we want to relax the rules and allow Karens and Darrens to use the same rationale in the state of Ohio. I don't trust you. I'm beyond. I don't trust none of these motherfuckers. I'm done with you. I don't trust them. I've seen nothing whatsoever that would lead me to trust my fellow Ohioans with something like this. But it don't matter. Guess why? Because he's the governor and he already signed it. Black voters need to wake the fuck up this morning and realize, stop playing these games talking about what matters and what your vote don't matter. It matters. It matters who controls the state legislature in the state of Ohio. We're seeing another example of it. Anybody who thinks otherwise is either dumb as rocks or you're trying to confuse us. You're trying to lie to us. It's either or. Either you're just an imbecile or you are intentionally trying to mislead the community. There is no other explanation, in my opinion. Period, point blank. I don't want to hear no arguments about it. Simple as that. So we must discuss. I'll give you the details. The Cincinnati NAACP, they talked about this at length on their podcast, Truth to Power podcast, which is up on Facebook and their Facebook page right now, right? And their new president, Joe Mallory, was quoted as saying that he feels like this is a threat to the black family. I agree with Joe Mallory 100%. It is. It is. 100%. It's going to be somebody melanated that's going to get caught up in the game. And then the prosecutors are going to be like, well, we can't prove that their life wasn't in danger. I don't trust them. Sorry. Do you? Do you? 513-873-7134. He was urged by the crowd back in 2019 to do something, and Mike DeWine hasn't done a damn thing. He couldn't even speak. They drowned him out up in Dayton. He couldn't even speak. They said, do something. And this is what you do? Way to go. We got you. I'll say it again. Mike DeWine has no spine. He is a Republican through and through. Whatever goofy measures they want to put in place, he's going to sign it. And that's the way it goes. Simple as that. Other matters. I got a chance to see a video. There were several videos on Facebook of the new Hamilton County Sheriff, Charmaine McGuffey. And congratulations to Charmaine McGuffey. Man, that's just an interesting story. I got to tell that story again, though. I mean, here she is on the staff, right, in a major position as a Hamilton County Sheriff. As the story goes, she starts to voice her concerns about abuse and other things that she thinks are not right that are happening inside the Hamilton County Sheriff's Department, right? And so Jim Neal, who at that point was the Hamilton County Sheriff, he launches basically a retaliatory campaign against her, right? So she decides, oh yeah, check it. Oh, that's what we doing out here? Yo, I got you, B. I'm going to run for Hamilton County Sheriff. She runs for Hamilton County Sheriff. And during the primary, gets the endorsement of the Democrat Party, right? Jim Neal, the former Hamilton County Sheriff, was a Democrat. But because of some of his activities, and I'm sure there's more to it that we just don't know, many members of the Democrat Party in Hamilton County fell out of love with him, for lack of a better term, right? She wins the endorsement, moves on to the general election, right, in November of 2020, and goes up against Bruce Hoffbauer. Who is Bruce Hoffbauer? White male Republican who back in the 90s killed an unarmed black man. Talking about, I was afraid he had superhuman strength. The hell? Right. During this summer of social unrest, we had to deal with this. And she wins. Along the way, man, it was just unbelievable things. You couldn't write this. Remember Earl Price? I was just talking about this yesterday. I read this morning that one of the first things that Charmaine McGuffey did is she got rid of a whole bunch of folks that she felt like wasn't on board. And guess whose name was on that list? Our good buddy Earl Price. I told you, Earl, you let Bruce Hoffbauer and Alex Trantafilu get you effed up. That's what you did, black man. You should have been smarter than that, period. I don't have no tears for you. I would have did the same damn thing. Your ass got to go. You ain't on board. You got to go, period. Simple as that. I ain't got no tears for you. In the Game of Thrones, what did Cersei say? You either win or you die. Simple as that. You either win or you get fired. But, you know, back to Earl Price, when he came on the show, he said he was thinking about retiring. So I'm sure he's going to retire and, you know, do whatever he's going to do in retirement. I wish him the best. But you, black man, you let Bruce Hoffbauer get you effed up. That's what happened. And you should have been smarter than that. Talking about, so she slipped my guard 25 years ago and punched me in the jaw. Man, if you don't shut the hell up, you're supposed to keep that to yourself, bro. You played that all wrong. You played that all wrong, Earl Price. It is what it is, bro. When I read that early this morning, I mean, I chuckled, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I got a different sense of humor, but it is what it is. 8 employees were let go. The day after Christmas, McGuffey sent the 8 employees a letter informing them that their employment would cease on January 4th. I hate to chuckle, but, you know, listen, we was knee deep in all of this, right? Just a few months ago. So now that we're seeing the conclusion of all of it, you know, it's hitting my chuckle button. What can I say? She instructed them to clean out their workspace and cruisers before then. And, you know, I asked her straight up, like, when she called into the show after the election, so what's up with Earl Price? And she was like, it's sad. I heard it right then, like, oops, I know what's going to happen here. But it is what it is. The 8 employees were Chief Deputy Mark Schnover, Major Earl Price. Damn, Earl. You let Bruce Hoffbauer and Alex Trantafilu get you effed up. That's what happened. You should be kicking yourself in the ass right now. Because you should have just played your position, Earl. Just play your position, man. You a major. Keep being a major. Keep your head down, because what are you getting out of this? That's how I know. I asked Earl Price, so, you know, did you talk to Bruce Hoffbauer? What are you getting out of this? You gonna get a raise or something? I don't believe 1 second where Earl said, like, I ain't never talked to Bruce, and no, he never promised me anything. Then you's a damn fool, Earl Price. You's a damn fool. If you expose yourself because of something that happened 20 years ago, put your job on the line and you wasn't getting nothing out of it? Gilligan move. Straight Gilligan move of the year right there. And the year just started. Straight Gilligan move. And also, 6 other people got let go. She said the dismissals, well, here's the quote. McGuffey said the dismissals weren't retaliation for her firing. Quote, every sheriff in the state hires a new command staff when taking office. I don't have an axe to grind. You want some blueberries, man? Go ahead, bro. Get you some blueberries. He's a part of the show. It is what it is. Quote, I don't have an axe to grind. I'm doing what 88 county sheriffs in the state of Ohio do, and I shouldn't be expecting to do differently. I agree with her. You do you. Do you, boo? Do you? But Earl Price, what a Gilligan move. Here you are, put your job on the line, and he told us he wasn't getting anything out of it. Why'd you do this then? Gilligan move. Learn from this, people. Learn from this, family. Don't go out like Earl Price. If you're going to put your ass on the line, at least be getting something out of it. Like, yeah, I'm going to get that new office if Bruce takes over. But Bruce didn't take over, so now you're getting that pink slip. But again, he said he was close to retirement. He probably done with this. Like, I'm out of here. I'm going to retirement. I'm going to start walking while retired, like drop. So I'm sure it's all good for Earl Price, man. I don't know. I just remember that conversation was it blew my mind. It blew my mind. Like, really? Bruh, you looking crazy out here, man. Y'all remember this? Angela writes, Nate, my grandson loved blueberries too. Yeah, them organic blueberries, man. Great natural antioxidants. Oh, yeah, you already know. We're raising champions over here. Strong body, strong mind. It's like his daddy. Glenn writes, Earl himself. Maurice writes, East Price, in the words of the group guy, I'm saying bye-bye. That's just, listen, it is what it is. I don't revel in anybody's, anything bad happening, but he did that to himself. And y'all remember, I was like, Earl, did you think this through, boy? Bruh, I mean, what if she becomes the next Hamilton County sheriff? What you gonna do? Well, I'll cross that bridge when I come to it, Nate. Okay. We'll see. But, again, true and being consistent to her word, nobody's perfect. I don't think Charmaine McGuffey is perfect. But I think it's up to the community to hold her to what she said during her run. And, in terms of what she said in terms of the first 100 days, she's doing what she said she was going to do. And I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised one bit. So we dodged. The real issue is Bruce Hoffbauer. It's not the Hamilton County Sheriff. That's the big issue. Because that would have been disastrous. That would have been a real problem. A real problem. You're talking about turning back the dial to the 90s, the 80s, and the 70s? Nah. Hell no. So glad to see the community stood up and the voters stood up and did what they had to do in that regard. Also today, and I'm ready for it, man. I'm ready for it. Today, you're going to have the Georgia runoff. So all this energy, all this money, all this momentum, all the campaign speeches come up to this day. And what's at stake here? What's at stake here is the short-term efficacy of the Biden administration. Is Biden going to be able to get anything done? Or will everything have to be legislatively? Or will everything have to be done with executive orders? That's what it comes down to. Are we going to get the first 2 years of the Biden administration that's a reflection of what Biden and Harris want? Or will it be a reflection on the low of what Mitch McConnell wants? That's what it comes down to. That's it. And if you're somebody that cares about a black agenda on any levels whatsoever, then Georgia is hanging in the balance, period. I have no confidence whatsoever that a black agenda on any levels, any pillars, any tenets, any of the sentences are going to be put in place as long as Mitch McConnell is in charge. How do we know this? Because the black agenda's already been sitting on his desk for years and years. Put there by the CBC, Congressional Black Caucus. Say what you want. It don't make no difference. Y'all need to go do some research because everybody trumping in Ice Cube because y'all in love with Ice Cube as a celebrity. But a lot of the same stuff that Ice Cube put in his black agenda were already on the CBC's black agenda that is languishing on the desk of Mitch McConnell. Now, I know with some of my, super black folks out there, that might be unpopular, but so be it. It's true. It's facts on facts on facts. So if you're somebody that supports a black agenda, P. Diddy and them, whoever, it ain't going to happen. Not a word, not a letter, not even a thought's going to happen as long as Mitch McConnell is the Senate Majority Leader. How do we know? Recent history. This ain't my opinion. I'm giving you the facts. Look it up for yourself. Challenge me on it. 513-873-7134. It is what it is, homie. So everything in terms of the next couple of years, because of course you got a midterm election coming up in 2 years and things might change. But for the short term, the next 2 years, I mean, if you voted for Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, it's all on the line with this election. The Democrats need to take both these seats. That means it'll be a 50-50 split. And constitutionally, when there's a 50-50 split on any vote, that means what? That means that the vice president, Kamala Harris, will come down and will cast the deciding vote. And we are living in hyper-partisan times. Hyper-partisanship. Democrats and Republicans don't work together on the national level. They vote as a solid block. Hyper-partisanship. Man, you got some of these Republicans running around talking about how they're going to try to slow up the certification of the electoral votes. Like literally, I went to the Inquirer this morning and literally there's an article asking a question. Are local congressional reps going to get on board with this latest Republican, scheme to try to stop Joe Biden from becoming president? Trump was in Georgia just last night saying the same things about how he lost the election. It was stolen from him. I mean, what a complete sack of human excrement. What a waste. This is who you voted for? I got no respect for you. So anybody that's still rolling with that dude at this point, you got real problems. You got bigger problems than I can ever deal with during a talk show. Much bigger problems. But what do you think? It's a few things that set the table this morning. 513-873-7134. Number one is to stand your ground law, which essentially does away with the duty to retreat. So basically, you get into an altercation, even if you have an opportunity to retreat, you don't have to if you perceive that your life is online. We already live in a world where somebody steals your car and they drive the wrong way in a cul-de-sac and here in Hamilton County. And then as they turn around and try to leave with your car, you can run out into the middle of the street, put yourself in harm's way, shoot them through the window and kill them. And the current Hamilton County prosecutor won't even charge you. In his mind, that would stand your ground. How does that work? How does that work? How do you put yourself in harm's way and then cry, stand your ground? But this is what happens when you got that white male, superiority complex in control of things, as we do with the current Hamilton County prosecutor. You know his name? Shame on white female Democrats that didn't vote for Fernand Rucker. Shame on you. Y'all gonna have to deal with that. Y'all gonna have to live with that one. So very controversial. I know there's some elements. Again, the Republicans are systematic. They've been trying to get these things passed for years and years and years. With Ohio, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, that there are now 36 states in the union that now have stand your ground bills or stand your ground laws in effect. How did we let this happen, family? You tell me, how do we let this happen? Senate Bill 175 initially was drafted to allow churches and synagogues and mosques immunity to self-defense shootings. But before the bipartisan bill passed out of both the State House and Senate, legislators attached an amendment that removes a gun user's duty to retreat before they use deadly force to defend themselves from harm. So now, if you are concealed and carry, as soon as you perceive a threat, you can kill somebody. As soon as you perceive a threat, you can off somebody and be like, you know what? I was fearing for my life. Yeah. Yeah. Just what we needed, right? Just what we needed to make us all feel safe. Hey, listen, folks, please take a second to like and share today's show. It means everything. Let me jump inside the chop shop. Cruther writes, good morning, choppers. Cassandra writes, hey, choppers. Brenda writes, happy Tuesday. Sharp writes, good morning, Nathan Choppers. Mason Marler writes, morning, Nathan Choppers. Hashtag free Chris Matthews. Chris Matthews, man, we don't give you no damn Chris Matthews. CG Dub writes, good morning, Choppers. Deborah writes, good morning, Nathan Choppers. He is done. It's over. Great. What is I'm getting a text message? People love to text me when I'm on the air. I don't even know what that is. I'll check in a second. Ray writes here. Sister Iris writes, good morning, great people. Pat Rogers writes, good morning. Mason Marlon writes, voting. I'm not sure the type to say I told you so, but right. Right. So that's the world we live in, family. I mean, to me, this clip represents a clear threat to black people, to non-white people in the state of Ohio. I don't care. Nobody says, oh, anybody can do this. Man, look, we already know. Look at what happened to Trayvon Martin. George Zimmerman claimed self-defense, stand your ground. You're going to see more of that because there's a resentment out there toward black people. There's a real resentment toward black people. And the resentment is by non-black people is that you're coming up too fast. You're encroaching upon, our cul-de-sacs. You're taking over. Trump won Ohio. So this is a red state. This is not a purple state. This ain't a damn straight no blue state. This is a red state. I think I can say that with confidence. 2 presidential election cycles where the Republican candidate won by at least 8 points. This is a red state. I don't trust you whatsoever. But this is your governor, Mike DeWine. And, people have been talking about this. I've had many conversations, rumbling, text messages. Concerned people have been having an eye on this. The question has been, what is Mike DeWine going to do? Last week, he was kind of sending the signal that he was not going to sign it. And this week, because he has no spine whatsoever, and at the end of the day, he's a straight up Republican all the way through. He's going to support Republicans, whether they right or wrong, like he did with the president. Running around here talking about, oh, Trump has done a great job with COVID. Really? Like I said, after the mass shooting in Dayton, in which 9 people got killed because you had a sicko, a lone white gunman, put it that way. Nobody said what's up with the white on white crime whatsoever. Again, that's the media. When it's black folks, black on black crime. When white people kill white people, it's just another tragic situation. And he walked into the entrance of a bar in Dayton with a 100-round drum magazine. 100 rounds? Now, I'm all about the Second Amendment. We've done gun classes, CCW classes with the audience. We'll continue to do that into the new year when the weather gets better. I'm all about it. But 100 rounds, what are you killing? What are you trying to shoot? I mean, are we out here looking for Bigfoot, Yeti, the Loch Ness Monster? What exactly, the lizard people? Who exactly are you shooting at? 100 rounds? In today's world, we just can't trust us with that type of weaponry. What are you doing with it? Where are you hunting at? What kind of wild beast are you hunting? And again, I say, if it takes 100 rounds to kill some kind of wild beast, perhaps you shouldn't be killing it. I'm just saying, if it takes 100 rounds to take down one of God's creatures, maybe you should leave it alone. But you got some of these sicko, crazy gun nuts, and I call them nuts because their logic is nuts. Talking about, well, that's going to encroach upon my Second Amendment rights. So let me say, so because we say you can't have a 100-round magazine, that's encroaching upon your Second Amendment rights, knock it off. The reality is this, friends, is that money in politics is the problem. As long as you got money in politics, then the gun lobby and the other lobbies has got hundreds of millions of dollars to spend. They're always going to have more influence. They're always going to have more influence, way more influence than you and me any day of the week. I don't care how many PACs you have. It don't really matter. because they got more money at the end of the day. It's just what it is. It's undeniable. There's no way around it. It is what it is, family. But again, what do you think? 513-873-7134 if you would like to share your thoughts this morning. I'm on one as usual. I know. Yesterday, I was on one with the CPS. And shout out to all the folks that checked out yesterday's show. And the conversation continued on text message afterward. I appreciate it. There's a lot of concerned people out there that want to try to make a positive change out there. I'm still pissed off at CPS. CPS should be called to the carpet. They need to be called to the carpet. The superintendent needs to be called to the carpet. All the school board members need to be called to the carpet. Anytime they do any kind of press, people need to press them about this case. And the question should be, why are you continuing it? Why don't you drop this case, pay this family, and then get busy internally making CPS a more healthy environment? There's no better question for anybody involved with CPS. And the reason why that question is so good is because I'm not asking you about the case in particular. Because the first time you bring that case, the superintendent, the school board members, and anybody involved are going to say, why can't you talk about it? I ain't asking you to talk about it. My question is, why don't you drop it? Why not drop it? Pay this family and get busy creating a healthy environment in every single CPS school. That's the only thing they should be doing. Don't get me started. I go all day about this. This is just a travesty. It really is. It's an absolute travesty. And mofos want to be friends and be polite. I don't give a damn about none of that. So what? Big deal. Don't like me, but get out here and make a healthy environment for our kids. That's all that really matters. Good morning to everybody. 513-873-7134 if you want to share your thoughts. I'm on one this morning. Yeah, I mean, I'll give it a year or so before somebody gets caught up with this new stand your ground law. And then, let me give you the details. It's going to be a little more difficult for prosecutors to prosecute somebody that says I'm using and exercising stand your ground law. They're going to have to kind of disprove that, in effect, there was no threat. See, these Republicans are very shrewd and nefarious, man. They know how to get what they want. When Republicans have a majority, they do what they want to do. When the Republicans have a majority, they don't give a damn whether you like it or not. Look at what they're doing with the stimulus package. These mofos making $3,100 a week, but then stop you from getting $2,000 as a one-time payment during a pandemic that's now going into a whole year. And they get with their marketing experts. They do their focus tests. They test out these phrases and slogans and things and rebuttals. And when they get them, they start using them like, well, how's it going to work? It needs to be more targeted. It needs to be more targeted. You weren't saying that when you was talking about giving tax cuts to wealthy people. You didn't say, well, let's target it so it really hits the people that really need it. You said across the board, y'all all getting this. But when it comes to the people, hey, it don't really matter. It is what it is. 513-873-7134. Again, if you'd like to share your thoughts. I'm on Facebook now. Alicia writes, good morning, Nathan and the Choppers. Hey, good morning to you, Alicia. Fane Rothstein writes, hi, Nathan and the Choppers. It's raining, but y'all got me for a few. Oh, we so lucky. Good to see you, brother. Anthony writes, morning, Choppers. Iona writes, good morning. Maurice writes, glorious resurrection. Kush writes, good morning, Nathan and the Choppers. Good morning to you. Good to see you. Jared writes, good morning, hashtag team and I. Good morning to you. Good to see you. I got to shout out my patrons today. I appreciate your support for another month. Glenn writes, morning, Nathan, the Facebook Choppers. Hashtag flows ready to eat for everybody. Absolutely. Cleopatra Jones writes, that law works both ways, black folks. That law isn't just for white folks to stand their ground. You can stand your ground too, black people. Oh, yeah, we already know. Mm-hmm. The laws have always been for both sides, but many of them seem to only benefit one side. Maurice writes, brothers and sisters, strap up. Dale writes, good morning, Nate and the Choppers. Now, y'all saying something that rings very true to me. It's a new day out here. And there are so many more black people that have a CCW. There's so many more black people that have a different mentality. They're not on that antebellum type ish. You can bury that. So it's going to be interesting. Pay Rice Grand Risings, good to see you. Dale Rice on and happening in Georgia. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And I hope that people stand up and do what they got to do. I mean, David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler are creatures from the lagoon. Both of them use the advantages of getting advance notification as members of the Senate to try to make more money. Both of them did. It's well documented. And the fact that they haven't been charged or anything like that is beside the point, because we know how it is with elites. Elites rarely have to deal with the consequences of their actions. Look at Doug Evans. Doug Evans, he got sentenced a year ago, ain't did a day in jail. I'm talking about the dude that was was basically stealing from minority and black-owned businesses. He had a black dude that was his IT manager. He turned him into a figurehead for a company and was using that company as a pass-through to his company so he could steal contracts. And that's essentially what it is, stealing contracts from minority and black-owned businesses. That was a year ago. He ain't did a day in jail because of COVID. I read within the last 24 hours, he might not do any time, right? He might not do any time because his lawyer is saying he's got some kind, he don't have a spleen or something. Like literally, I don't think he has a spleen. And because of that, his lawyer is saying that it would be a hardship for him to go to prison. What? At the State House, Larry Householder, guess what? He hasn't been forced to step away from his office. He's still in office. He's going to be in office for another 24 months. In Cincinnati, Tamara Denard, they kicked her off council so quick, she couldn't even think. She got kicked off council so quick, she didn't have a time to blink. Just saying. You know what I'm saying? You ain't heard, for her crime, man, the Hamilton County prosecutor got personally involved. You haven't heard the Hamilton County prosecutor say a word about Doug Evans. He ain't said a word about Doug Evans at all. Why is that? I'm telling you. It's because I think Tamara Denard was a strong black woman, and when she said that she don't need John Cranley to white-splain to her, that put her on the radar screen of people like the Hamilton County prosecutor. We're seeing when black people stand up and voice their opposition to white supremacy, when he can, the Hamilton County prosecutor goes super hard, just like he did with that brother with the COVID-19. Like I told you, it had nothing to do with COVID-19. That was just an excuse. It was because he called Mike DeWine a cracker. That's the reason why he got 10 days in jail. I don't care what nobody tells me. That's what happened, in my opinion. He was a racist. Simple as that. I don't know why people don't see this for what it really is. It's obvious. But bravo, white female Democrats, for not voting for Fanon Rucker because you didn't do your homework. Way to go. Appreciate that. Angela Rice, protect yourself by any means necessary. Oh, yeah. Glenn Rice, Call of Duty type-ish. He thought he was playing Warzone in Dayton. 100-round clip. Right. That is some Call of Duty type-ish. You're right about that. Dion Rice, DeWine is a punk. No respect for the Dayton victims. Right. These people got murdered. They got mowed down at a nightclub, and state legislators and the governor has done nothing about it. Now, Mike DeWine put some ideas on the table, but the Republican-controlled majority, they said, F you, Mike DeWine, we ain't doing none of this. So my question is, what are the people going to do about it? Janice Rice, Happy New Year, good people. Hey, good to see you, Janice. Angela Rice, they shut his ass down. They did. Dante Rice, I don't have a problem with the law. It's a good decision. Really? Why is it a good decision, Dante? I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. Maurice Rice, looks like all white people in that clip I showed. Yeah, it was a lot in the video anyway. Dion Rice, facts, Nathan. Maurice Rice, DeWine is a racist puppet. Deborah writes, good morning, Nathan the Choppers. Good morning to you. Janice writes, let's see how that works. Hey, Danita's in the house. She writes, good morning. Make it a terrific Tuesday. I'm with that. I see Jason Dunn's in the house. What's up, brother Jason Dunn? He writes, good morning. Maurice writes, Nate, you just spoke the truth. However, we can do the same thing. That's why I said learn the law. Oh, absolutely. Oh, 100%. 100%. But we know how this country is set up. The laws have always on the books applied for everybody, right? Yeah, huh? Equal protection. Yeah, how's that been working for you? You melanated people throughout the history of this country. Not so good, right? Not so good. Why would you think Stand Your Ground is going to be any different? I don't trust them. I don't trust them one bit. And I don't trust us. I do not trust Ohioans. Again, this is a red state. This is a Trump state. Make no mistake about that. You live in Ohio, you're living in red state territory. 100%. You gonna trust these motherfuckers with some Stand Your Ground expansion? I don't trust them. Let me see. Danita writes, come on. We are not really surprised that a conservative Republican governor signed gun legislation. Conservatives believe in guns, saving the unborn, and pull yourself up by your bootstraps. We aren't giving you ish. This is what they do. I would change that. It's not that conservatives believe in guns, in my opinion, Danita. What I would say is that conservatives, many of them, white conservatives, are afraid of a black planet. So they hide behind the Second Amendment and use that as a rationale so they can keep their defense up and keep gunned up against black folks. That's how I look at it. Saving the unborn. Republicans don't give a damn about saving the unborn at all, in my opinion. That's just a rationale because they're afraid about being overpopulated and, again, fear of a black planet. If they really cared about saving the unborn across the board, then we would see better prenatal care. If they really cared about saving the unborn, then we would see more sympathy for black unwed mothers and unwed mothers in general. I don't see any of that. I don't believe that. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. I don't believe that either. That's some more dumb ish they've got us with. That ain't true. What they really care about is socialism for the rich, but they hide behind pull yourself up by your bootstraps. The hell out of here. You can't pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You ain't got no laces. So I don't believe. I mean, that's all the stuff that they say, Danita, but none of that stuff holds to be true to me. You know, a lot of these white conservatives are afraid of a black planet. That's why they stay strapped up and running through the hills on the weekend playing militia. They don't give a damn about the unborn, in my opinion. They don't care whatsoever, because if you look at the policies and the legislation, how can you say you care about saving the unborn, but you don't care about a social safety net? How can you say you care about the unborn, but black mothers are struggling to have a 1-year anniversary after having given birth? The state of prenatal care in the black community is still a problem. How can you say you care about the unborn? You can't say you care about the unborn if you don't care about the mama and the father. So they don't give a damn about no unborn. That's just some nonsense to talk about to get the religious people involved. But in terms of what really matters, they don't give a damn about you. Because how can you say you care about the unborn, but once the baby is born, you don't give a damn about them? We want to cut the welfare rolls and push you off the system as quickly as possible and separate mom from baby. Nah, I don't believe that. And bootstrap policies, that's nonsense. It sounds good. But in reality, a lot of conservatives, wittingly or unwittingly, are for socialism for the rich. That's what they're really for. They're for socialism for the rich. They can't give rich people enough tax breaks. They can't do enough for the rich people because they have been duped in believing that somehow that's going to trickle down to you and your family. It's nonsense. 100% nonsense. Angela writes, right, and they have a lot of Karens and Darrens in Cincinnati. Oh, yeah, it's a lot of them. They try to be polite in Cincinnati, but there's a lot of Karens and Darrens in the city. Christian writes, you got some of your dates wrong. John Casey was governor doing most of this. Oh, really? Okay, I'll double check on that, Christian. Thanks for the message. Appreciate it. Janice writes, if we learn anything after the previous 4 years, is that your vote and who you vote for is critical. Absolutely. 100%. Glenn writes, Jim Neal is Dusty Rhodes in his sheriff uniform. Is that right? Dusty Rhodes, man, he's an interesting dude. Fame writes, McGuffey issue is she was sworn in by AFTAB on 12/31. The dismissals of the 8 is dated 12/26. 12/26, is that right? Mm-hmm. I think the most important date is January the 5th, right? Because that's the day in which everybody had to be out. Clean out your locker. We want you gone. All right, let me go to the phone. So we got an early call. Hey, good morning. Welcome to the show. Hold on one second. You're not coming through. Let's try it again. What's up, brother? No, I can't hear you, man. I'm not sure what's going on. Yeah, that's Black Russia calling in. See, Glenn writes, Earled himself. Yeah. Angela writes, Nate, my grandson loved blueberries too. One of the best things you can have in the morning. Or get yourself some organic ones. Angela writes, good morning, choppers. Glenn writes, Earl was supposed to take that to the grave with him. I got stole by a 5'4" white lesbian. Question mark. I mean, it's just 20 years later, during a hotly contested campaign, this black man stands up and says, she punched me in the jaw during a training exercise. I didn't say anything about it. We talked about it, and, we came to an agreement, and then I moved on. I'm going to the house parties. I'm on the team. Everything's cool until she decides to run for Hamilton County Sheriff. And then you want to tell this story in the media? Oh, dear Lord. You should have called me first, Earl, and said, Nate, what do you think? And I would have gave you some great advice. I would have told you, keep that to yourself, Earl, because the steak ain't worth the sizzle. All right. Like, what you gonna get out of it ain't worth it. And, that's what happened. Hey, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, comrade.
Yeah, there it is. Now you sound good. What's up, Black Russia?
Not a whole lot. What's going on?
Oh, man. What's on your mind?
Hey, man. Actually, a lot's going on. Hey, you see, Dewan signed that stand your ground law. I saw a headline on the show. I didn't hear you quickly, but I wanted to call you because I think this is the time to throw down the gauntlet to the NAACP. Okay? I know they will circulate the NAACP. New president is Joe Mallory, right? I like Joe Mallory, right? But here's what he has to do to solidify himself now as the president. Because he sent out that MoveOn.org, and that's cool, got 400 signatures. Yeah, Dewan signed the bill anyway. So, now, what is Joe Mallory willing to do to escalate the entire situation? Is he willing to get on the phone and call Columbus NAACP, Cleveland NAACP, Toledo, Akron, and form Voltron and get this referendum going to stop Stand Your Ground? Because that's what you got to do at this point. Remember they did Senate Bill 5 when they tried to pass the union busting law? What did you call it? The right to work legislation that everybody formed Voltron to stop Kasich?
I do remember that.
If Stand Your Ground is as dangerous to black folks as you claim it is, as probably everybody know it is, you got to form Voltron on this one across the state and get these signatures, the reform, and put it on the ballot. The people decide to stand their ground or not. This is a debatable thing right here. And I'm saying NAACP, when I was around, stuff like this, if it was Black Lives on the line, people was out here grabbing signatures. I just want to know if this is the same thing. Are they going to form Voltron and try to prevent Black lives from being shot? They make all this noise, they do a lot of talking. Now it's time for action. I'm just going to kick back and watch because stand your ground ain't it. So if people really want to say, hey, Black lives are on the line, what capital are you willing to burn? I want to see it. Have a good day, comrade.
I appreciate the call. For whatever reason, I sound super loud, but I appreciate the call, man. And I would say that I hear what you're saying, and we'll have to wait and see. I don't know. Maybe on the next Truth to Power podcast, we'll hear more about what the NAACP's plan is. What I will say is that, and I got to be honest with you, Black Russia, I think that's the wrong attitude to take. And what I mean by that is, I think the whole what is somebody going to do and I'm going to sit back and watch attitude is a part of the problem. I think the real question we should be asking ourselves is not what the NAACP or any organization is going to do, is what are you going to do? I think that's the real issue. What are you going to do about it? What are you willing to do? Passing a buck and somebody else should do it. I mean, we've been doing that. That's only so effective. Sitting back watching. I mean, how's that going to change anything? So I hear what you're saying, but I think the moment is all about the individual. You know, the real question is, what are you going to help the Cincinnati NAACP do? How are you going to get involved with whatever they come up with to help them push the needle? I think that's the real question for the community, but that's just me. Let me see here. 513-873-7134. D Kits on YouTube writes, good morning. Good morning to you, D Kit. Let me see. Angela writes, I met Charmaine the day I went and voted. We actually had a convo. She was fixing signs by where I was parked. I didn't realize it was her until I got home and seen a commercial. Yeah, I mean, again, with Charmaine McGuffey, my gut tells me she's going to do exactly what she said she was going to do. You know, my spider sense tells me that she's going to do that. It's up to the community to work with her and in some cases push her toward the kind of standards that we want to see. It's not just about these individuals. It's really on us. To me, I think it's a much more powerful position when you take onus of it and say, hey, it's on me. It's on us. I'm going to do this. We're going to do this, rather than what's somebody else going to do. Yeah, if you're a legislator or you're the Hamilton County Sheriff, you're in a prime position to get things done in that particular area. Right. But it's really on the community. It's on what the pressure that we create, the initiatives, the ideas, the conversations that we have, that we bring to them, and then in some cases help them, and in some cases push them to put in place for us. If we take the whole sit back mentality and we'll wait and see, man, we'll be waiting forever. But that's just me. What do you think? Let's go to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Nate. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. What up, Glenn?
I'm doing good, man. Let me say this. I'm glad you made the point that, in 2021, we're not doing I'm just going to sit back and watch or wait type shit. I mean, what the hell is Black Russia, a Proud Boy now? Stand back and stand by? I mean, get the hell out of here. And Nate, I'm going to have this section on my show called I'm Telling the Truth This Time. And if we really telling the truth this time, Black Russia, you don't need to worry about the NAACP. It's your boys, your people on the conservative side, your people on the right that are doing all the damage. Hell, maybe you need to form a Voltron around they punk ass. Maybe you need to form a Voltron around the wine when the white folks are drowning them out, talking about do something. Oh, man, please. This, again, what we not going to do in 2021. I'm going to sit back. Black Proud Boys, is that what we doing, Nate? I mean, you talked about voting earlier. Nate, I've been saying that for how long? Hell, I was chided for, why you always talking about voting? You see what's happening down in Georgia? Oh, Nate, I got that first day of school feeling. You already know. I'll be up to, I don't know how long, because we won't get the results by tonight. We probably won't get them by tomorrow morning. It's going to be one of those nights. But I'll be up to about 2 or 3 in the morning, listening and watching all, and observing everything. But again, let this be another beacon of, let's do this. Let's form a Voltron around a freaking voting booth. How about that? Nate, let me get back to work, man. Like I said, I appreciate you, standing up and saying, the time to sit back and watch. We're not doing that no more. It's like the Goody Mob. People don't dance no more. We're not standing back and sitting around no more. I'm out, Nate. You have a good one, man. And hopefully in the end, I'm going old school. They getting what I'm spitting. I'm out.
Appreciate the call. We working on a podcast together. You'll hear soon. I love it. Let me circle back around here because Brother Christian, he made a comment, but I just want to make sure, listen, I already know what I'm talking about, and I'm always open to be corrected by my people. Always. I may not like it. It may take me a second, but I like to think that if I'm wrong about something, I'll admit it and be real about it. But no, brother, no, my dates they match up, because what you have to remember, Christian, and anybody else, is that the governor is seated in January. So you're right. John Kasich was the governor up until January of 2019, and then DeWine took over. If I'm wrong about that, set me straight. But I can understand, a lot of people think that election is in November, but I believe it's different for the governor of Ohio. I believe it's a January to January thing. And that's the reason why those dates do match up. When the massacre happened in 2019, August of 2019, DeWine was the governor. 100% on that. Unless you find something else, and then, I'll always admit it, and I want to give the correct information out. But there might be some folks that's in error about that. You might be thinking November. No. Let me see here. Trey writes, it's the truth. What's up, Trey? Maurice writes, didn't I send you a copy of the leak biting video? Not sure. Angela writes, Mitch is a bitch. Just she writes, I love that. Just she. Facts. Drop writes, how would McGuffey deal with Lieutenant Melissa McFadden book, Walking the Thin Black Line? You know what? I got to send a message to her. I saw that D Wizzle picked up the book. And I got to make sure that I send it back to Melissa so she knows that this audience, man, you know, it's a reflection of the host. These people, very smart, intelligent people that stay up on the latest. They buy merchandise, read books. Fascinating conversation I had with Lieutenant Melissa McFadden. That sister she got cojones. She is currently a lieutenant with the Columbus Police Department and wrote a book, a tell-all book about the Columbus Police Department. Now that takes some stones right there. I won't say bravo. That takes some stones. She like some what you gonna do about it? I love it. And if she can do that, then why don't we see more of that from Cincinnati Police Department officers, black male officers? Where's the book at? If Melissa McFadden can write a book and still, but then she said the difference is that she's at retirement. So I get it. She's like, look, they start tripping. I'm out of here with full benefits. So that's a whole different thing. And I respect it. I understand that. But damn, I mean, she writing a blueprint on how these officers can exercise their power in terms of leveraging the power of their experience and putting it out there to the media. So yeah, check that out. It's called Walking the Thin Black Line. We had the sister on just last week. I believe it was Thursday of last week. So if you want to go back and check out that interview, you can watch it was a live stream interview. We did a Zoom call, so you can check it out for yourself and watch the entirety of the video. She only had a little bit of time, but I'm definitely going to circle back around and see if she wants to come back on. And maybe you'll hear her on some other CDM podcast because the sister's got a story to tell, and it's local, and it's relevant, and it's timely, and I appreciate her time. So big ups to Melissa McFadden. Let's go to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Mr. Ivey. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great, man. Happy New Year, Drop.
Thank you. Happy New Year to you and all the people that listen to the Nathan Ivey Show and indulge into saying digital media. Mr. Ivey, that last caller, I don't know. I mean, was that guy discouraging black Ohioans from exercising their Second Amendment right, like Black Russia sounded like that's what Black Russia was encouraging. He was encouraging a flat out campaign in the city of Ohio or the state of Ohio to encourage black people to get strapped up. Now, Mr. Ivey, how is that not the counter to you saying, oh, you can't trust these Republicans? We in a red state. I mean, Mr. Ivey, you got to give me some clarification on that one. Because that's the ultimate answer to stand your ground if you think black people are going to be victims, is tell black people to exercise their Second Amendment rights and strap up.
Okay, so is that a question?
Yes, sir. That was a question.
So what's the question again? I want to make sure that I answer your question the best I can.
Okay. The question was, the last caller, it sounded to me that he was outraged that the previous caller to him, Black Russia, was encouraging black people to exercise their Second Amendment rights. You were saying that because it's a red state, that stand your ground is going to be detrimental to black people. When the solution is to exercise your Second Amendment rights like these so-called crazy white people are in Ohio, who are going to be victimizing black people because of the stand your ground rule. That's the question, Mr. Ivey. How is okay? Do you get it now? Is that clear?
I'm trying to make sense out of it. You know, I do have a response though, if you want to hear it.
Of course.
Okay. So my response is a question. And the question is, when have the laws in this country ever been applied equally between black folks and white folks?
In this case, the law states that you have the right to stand your ground and defend yourself.
Yeah.
Whether that be with a deadly weapon or with your hands.
I'm just saying.
Or a bottle.
You didn't answer my question.
So, Mr.
You're
Yes,
trying to
I
go
am
around my
answering your
question.
question.
My question is very simple. When have the laws in this country ever been evenly applied to black people and white people?
Okay, first of all, you're asking a rhetorical, dumbass question to a 60-year-old black man. It never has. Why
It's
you
not
asking that
rhetorical.
question?
I'm expecting an answer.
But Mr. Ivey, you're asking a question that everybody knows the answer to, and you know the answer to it.
Right.
Why do you think I would give you a different answer?
Well, because your answer is going to lead to my second point, which is going to lead to me answering your question.
Mr. Ivey, you kind of breaking up, so I'm gonna stick with you as long as you can hear me. I can make out what. So
you can't hear me all of a sudden.
But for you to ask me a question about laws being unfavorable to black people, that makes no sense in relationship to what we're talking about when we're talking about a gun that is specifically, we're talking about a law that is specifically tied to the Second Amendment.
Okay, I want to hear. Are you done?
Yeah, I was waiting for your response.
Oh, I mean,
because stand your ground.
I'll let you finish and then I'll give my response to answer your question.
Say again?
I said I'll let you finish and then I'll give my response and answer your question.
Okay, I'm done.
Okay. All right, Drop. Thanks for the call. So to answer your question, and I'm trying to make sense out of this as much as I can. So essentially what you're saying is that black people should not be concerned about the new stand your ground law because the stand your ground law applies to black people. That's what I think you were trying to say. And my problem with that is that allegedly the laws have always applied to all people, but we know that they've been unevenly distributed. So what makes you think that this new stand your ground law won't be just as unevenly distributed? And what do I mean? Well, case in point, look at Trayvon Martin. Trayvon Martin was tracked down by a non-black person who basically profiled him, stalked him, confronted him, and then when he started to lose the physical confrontation, shot this young boy, shot him dead, and then used stand your ground law. How did the stand your ground law protect Trayvon Martin? You know, we live in a situation where overwhelmingly the prosecutors throughout the country and the state of Ohio are white males, overwhelmingly. We understand that there's a lot of jury bias. What makes you think? What evidence do you have? Why should I, as a black man living in Ohio, have any confidence that when it comes to stand your ground laws, all of a sudden they're going to be looked upon and be distributed evenly when nothing else has? And again, I mean, where's the evidence of it? So, no, it wasn't rhetorical. I expect a response. It wasn't dumb. It was super on point. And it gets right back to the crux of what you were trying, of your argument. You know, your argument is black people can use stand your ground too. Oh, yeah, black people have been able to exercise allegedly all of the conveniences and the laws and protections, but they ain't really worked the same way for us, have they? It's just like in the school systems. The rules apply for everybody. But the black kids get sent to the principal's office a little bit more, don't they? Statistically speaking, right? How is that possible? We're in a world where the laws apply to everybody. Drop. What are you talking about? Like, allegedly on paper, the banks are supposed to give you a loan. depending on if you got a great idea and if you're a good risk. But redlining of black neighborhoods still exists, don't it? How is that possible in a world where, the laws apply to everybody? What the hell are you talking about, bro? What world you living in? You got black entrepreneurs whose ideas, the timber of their ideas is every bit as good as their white counterparts, but yet they struggle to get funding. How is that possible in a world where everything applies to everybody evenly? So please miss me with the pie in the sky, is the world is even and everything works the way it's supposed to. Stop all that. Stop all that. Please stop. You know what I'm saying? Please stop it. And look at the world for what it really is, brother. Somebody saying you can't hear me. Can you hear me now? Hopefully you can. Ridiculous. Ridiculous whatsoever. So like I said, stand your ground is a problem because it gives a legal rationale for some people that have fears about melanated people. And now those fears can be manifested. Oh, I felt, oh, my life is in danger. We can't trust them. And I don't trust the largely white male prosecutors. And I don't trust the juries that are biased in many cases. Everybody knows that jury selection is a problem. Come on, man. Do I have to break this all the way down? Maybe I do. And I did. So now we understand the world that we live in. I live in the real world, Drop. The real world. Not some fantasy land that, I believe everything I'm read and all this stuff. Like I told you, you go to some of these school systems across the nation, the rules are supposed to apply for everybody. But it's the black students that are suspended at a higher rate. How's that possible when the rules apply to everybody? How's that possible? The rules apply to everybody. That's because the rules don't apply to everybody. That's what they say, but in practice, it's a whole nother thing. Just like the American criminal justice system. What is it? This Lady Liberty, she's got a blindfold on. Man, that is a David Copperfield see-through magician's blindfold. She can see right through that. It matters what you look like. It matters how much money you have. It matters who's representing you in the American court system. Anybody that tells you otherwise is either just really, really uneducated and naive, or they're trying to lie to you. And I'm neither of those. I'm going to keep it real with you. But let's go back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Morning, Nathan. Kev on the cell.
What up, Kev on the cell? How you doing, brother?
Doing well. Enjoying this new year.
Yeah, happy new year to you.
New me. You too. So what Drop just did is the same thing that they did with the law that I don't know why the name of the law is actually escaping me. About having equal distribution of sentencing, right? That's the same thing they said. That same thing. All these folks that right now are clamoring and saying Joe Biden was the bad guy and he put forward this law that was attributed to black folks unevenly. Exact same thing. Yeah, you create a law. You create a law that's supposedly about being justice and equity, but if you use it inequitably, then people are disaffected, unevenly. And it's easy to see. We have to be careful though that, nothing against Drop. Drop is just Drop. I'm not going to even pontificate against him, but nothing against Drop. But we got to be careful that the people who put this stuff, these things forward for us, quote unquote, for us, they know what's going to happen. They absolutely know that the outcome is going to be that we're going to be affected adversely by what they're doing. You know what I mean? And this is not an accident. This is stuff that people want to do. It's nefarious, man. It's really that they are trying to literally hurt us in a way that we can't come back from. So we got to be careful about stuff like this. People will be like, oh, it's not a big deal. It don't mean nothing. I just hope that everybody's eyes are open. And again, it's 2021, man. So it's time out for any of that old, well, I didn't know. Yes, you did. People are telling you the truth. You don't want to hear the truth, or you don't like the truth that you hear. And because you don't like the truth that you hear, you don't want to hear it. I don't know, man. But I got to pivot too. So And the audacity of that orange dude, man, is driving me nuts. He's doing some stuff now that is, again, we're going back. It's the same. It's exactly the same concept, Nate. You do things in front of people's faces and nobody says nothing. Where are the Democrats on the fact that this man put this tape out, man? All I want to hear is, I want to hear people, or all I want to do is hear people clamoring about the president of the United States is trying to literally extort people into doing things. We gotta wake up, man. We as a people gotta wake up. I mean, it is what it is. They are literally trying to in some instances wipe us off the face of the earth. And I don't know about you, but I got a bunch of people that I love that, I mean, come for me if you want to. You got to fight on your hands, for sure. Hey, what we gonna do, man? What do we do?
We're gonna stay prayed up. We're gonna keep our knowledge up. We're gonna keep our bodies strong. We're gonna build our businesses, and we're gonna live a good, black, excellent life. That's what we're gonna do.
That's it, bro. I'm with you. I'm 100% with you. But I really do think that we need to coalesce our power as black folks. You know, start this whole, we don't do well in the individualism thing. They already told us, hey, you don't have the wealth. What you just said is the truth. If you don't have the money, you're not going to do well in the court system, right? If you don't have the money, you're not going to do well in the business world. If you don't have the knowledge and the money, you're not going to do good even in this whole we going to have a great black life thing. So we got to get the knowledge, we got to get the wisdom, we got to get the money, and we got to get ourselves together. Because I'm telling you, everybody else on the planet, I don't care who you name any group, name any ethnic group, man, and they do better than us at doing that. You know, folks help folks to get ahead and to do better. And we're lagging behind. And then we look and we say, well, everybody else has more wealth and we don't get no breaks. And ain't nobody going to. No, man, all of that is time out for all of that, man. We have to build us up. And the only way we build us up is when we coalesce power. If we start talking about, if you go back and you look at the whole thing about Kwanzaa and what Kwanzaa means, that's what we're talking about. Collective, building wealth collectively. And so we got to, as a group, we got to start taking note. Somebody asked the other day, you know, they don't know where Kev's getting all this from. Well, I have a master's in public administration, so I understand the law, and I understand it from the standpoint of what they are thinking, not what I am thinking. And I've worked for a bank. I've been in banking for almost 13 years. And I've been in finance for about 20. So I'm talking about money from the standpoint of the way the people across the table are talking about money. And I own a business, and my business thrives. Never lost $1 on it. So that whole thing about you gonna lose money, I never lost not a cent. And I'm in real estate. So I'm sharing the knowledge I've got with folks so they do as well as I do, or better. In fact, better is even for me. If you do better than me, I'm blessed and I'm happy. So, man, for 2021, we're going to put 20 in the past. We're going forward, not backwards. And we got to build this thing up, and we got to build each other up. Be blessed, brother. Keep it correct.
Hey, thanks for the flows, man. I appreciate it. That's Kev on the cell. Appreciate the flows. I'm with you on all of that, man. 100%. All right, here's my number again. If you're interested, 513-873-7134. You might be like, screw this guy. I ain't trying to call into his show. I don't care. That's cool. You might not be a talk radio caller. Cool. You might just be a listener. You can be a fly on the wall. That's great. But I want to let you know what's going on today. So later on today, you have Midday Juice with Ask Ashley. That's at 1 p.m. today. Essentially, she's sort of like a modern day Ask Abby. But really, we call her Ask Ashley. AskAshley@gmail.com. And I just love the juice and the drama, I'll be honest with you. But she got a really entertaining way of answering the question. So I'm not sure what you got going on during your midday at 1 p.m. today, but circle around and check that out. And also Valet Service Podcast with Fast Pitch. Now, we've had some technical difficulties the last few weeks. We're trying to iron that out so we can stream it live from our Facebook page. But she'll be talking about numerous things tonight, including, parenthood. And then, you got a step parent that comes into the situation and the dynamics that has in the household. So that's today at 7 p.m. Check it out, and please like and share as we build out this platform. All right, let's go back to the phones. Hold on one second, caller, because primarily I've been talking about the Stand Your Ground law, and I just want to run through some things. Senate Bill 175 was passed by the House and the Senate, and was signed by the governor. And essentially, it eliminates the duty to retreat before using force in self-defense or defense of another person or defense of certain property. And they've extended it to your car. And it needs to be said that police chiefs from Ohio's largest cities and the Ohio Prosecuting Attorney Association, they both oppose eliminating the duty to retreat. And what we don't know, we're living in an age of white fragility. And what we don't need is for white fragility, white fright, to have a legal rationale to exercise, to manifest these feelings against people that they perceive to be a problem. I mean, we live in a world where you got Karens and Darrens out there trying to falsely call 911 and call the police on black folks. I read a story, it was, I don't know, maybe back in October of last year, of a black man in Ohio who went to the grocery store, bought his groceries, took his groceries and went to the parking lot, had a minivan, put his groceries in the minivan. He's going home, right? Unbeknownst to him, a Karen was surveilling him the entire time. This woman not only followed him because she thought he was suspicious. It was suspicious the way he was loading his groceries into his minivan, that she actually called the police. This brother got stopped. People with that kind of mentality don't deserve, cannot be trusted with an expansion of Stand Your Ground, in my opinion. And there's a lot more of them like that in this state. And I think it's a real threat to the black family in the state of Ohio. This is my personal opinion. It's an opinion that a lot of people share, but I want to get your thoughts about it. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Nate, what's going on? This is Daryl from Atlanta.
Hey, what's up, Daryl?
Man? Hey, this look, I live in a stand your ground state, and I was looking at the Facebook caller. There's somebody out on Facebook that lives in Florida. Look, all I got to say is Ahmaud Arbery. You talked about Trayvon Martin. Then remember the young black woman that was married, she was going through some domestic violence issues. There's a black woman, and she fired the shot in the air, and there was Stand Your Ground, and they took her to jail because she was defending herself in a domestic abuse situation.
Right, I remember that.
Then there's the young man. Then there was the brother that was at the gas station, and I think this guy was found guilty, but to the point that he tried to use, white guy tried to use Stand Your Ground. His wife at the store was accosted. I don't know if necessarily assaulted by a white guy, and the husband stepped in and pushed him down, and then the husband was walking away, and the white guy shot him in the back. Remember that?
Oh, yeah, I remember. Talked about it for weeks. I remember that.
So these people out here talking about, we need Stand Your Ground, strap up. Man, look, the bottom line is we outnumbered. And I'm not saying don't carry a weapon if that's your belief. What I'm saying is the numbers don't work out. I'm a numbers guy. They got more weapons than us. That's straight truth. That's facts. So this fantasy of I'm gonna go down like Scarface or something, I mean, it ain't gonna happen. I mean, you're gonna get wiped out. Now, I'm not saying don't defend yourself. I'm just giving you the reality. So, I mean, when I hear that stuff, and then the young man that called you, or I guess he gave you some information about you were wrong. No, you weren't wrong about DeWine was in office when that issue happened in Dayton, because I voted for Kasich in that presidential primary. I didn't vote for the Republican in the general because I was trying some strategy out because I didn't want Trump on the ticket. So I voted for Kasich in the Republican primary. And see, we got to be sophisticated in how we operate. So I was like, look, I'm going to vote Democrat in general. But in the primary, I was trying to upset some things, but just didn't have enough people to go along with that type of game. But this other stuff, oh, by the way, in Georgia, I think it's going to be close. We probably won't find out tonight. Probably be sometime later this week, but it's going to be close, and they're ramping it all up. So hang in there, man. You know, I'll be doing my thing on Facebook, but I just had to call in, and I had some time off. So take care, brother.
You too, man. That's Daryl in Atlanta. Appreciate the flows. Oh yeah, I'm already hip to that. Yeah, people. I think the brother that made that point, I think it comes from a good place, but people are mistaken. You know, the Ohio governor was seated in January, not in November. So when that Dayton massacre happened, DeWine was the governor. I mean, you can look at the news clips. Just Google it. It's very, very readily available. And he took the stage the day or two afterward at a vigil in Dayton, and he got shouted down because people were saying, do something, do something. I played the clip for you, the video clip for you earlier. They were like, do something, do something. They just shouted him down. You couldn't even hear him. And again, to DeWine's credit, he did offer up, it could have been a lot deeper in my opinion. He did offer up a list of things that he would like to see in terms of police reforms and databases, but the Republican-controlled state legislature ain't having it. And I don't know why. What is it going to take for people to understand that sometimes it's simply a numbers game and that there is a big difference between Democrats and Republicans? They are not the same. They don't believe in the same things. They don't operate the same things. They ain't pushing for the same things. They might be similar. People will say, oh, it's two sides of the same coin. You're right on some levels, but on some levels, you're dead wrong. And so what did this Republican-controlled state legislature come up with? Did they come up with background checks or database or any of the ideas that a lot of gun reform activists and people that are looking for reforms in that area have been asking for? No. They came up with Stand Your Ground, an expansion of Stand Your Ground, which is potentially a real problem because I don't trust these mofos in this state. I don't trust them at all. Not one bit. And Governor DeWine has shown you who he stands for. He stands with money and the Republicans. Simple as that. That's what it's all about. But we already knew this. I said it was a black man that was killed at Walmart. The police officers was dead wrong. They showed up on the scene and they started pulling the trigger before they asked any questions. Mike DeWine basically shielded them. He protected them. He wouldn't release the video to the family or to the public because he didn't want us to see what really happened until it was too late for the public to do anything about it. That told me everything I need to know about Mike DeWine. That's it. That's it. And what is this going to prevent? Like, you had a mass shooting in Dayton. If you had this there's no difference. If you had a concealed and carry permit and you were in Dayton and somebody opens up and starts firing, and you feel like your life is on the line, you could have defended yourself already. Previous to that. And excellent points by Daryl. He's right about all of that. There was a sister in a Stand Your Ground state. She went to jail. But going back to Drop, I thought she had protections. Like I said, this idea that we have the same protections, they've been telling us that since the beginning of time. It don't always work that way, do it? It don't always work that way. In a lot of cases, it just don't work that way. I do remember the case of a black man. It was very sad. He went into the convenience store with his family, and while he was in the convenience store, a white dude who had some problems, and as the story goes, he had been harassing people for some time. You know, people drive up, going to the convenience store, he talking ish, right? So while the man's in the convenience store, this white dude goes over to the car and he starts saying something to the woman who at that point was pregnant and they had a young child. And I think he was upset because they parked in a handicapped parking space, which, you know, my grandmother was handicapped. She had a parking handicap decal, and she needed it because it was hard for her to walk long distances. So I get it. It irritates me too, but I mean, you say what you got to say and move on. I'm not even against you saying something. Say what you got to say and move on. But he was like steady trying to say something to this woman standing outside her car window. Now, fellas, how many men are not going to stand up for your family? You walk into the store and when you come back, there's a strange man that's having a heated conversation with your lady, with your wife, with your woman, with your fiance, or with your girlfriend or the mother of your child. Are you not going to stand in? You're going to stand in and separate themselves. And that's what he did. I remember the video. Dude was talking all tough, and I think the black dude decked him. Now, I think what we came at with in these stand your ground states, when you make a move like that, you got to make sure you put dude out of his commission. You just can't deck nobody. You gotta make sure they unconscious. Because if you deck them, as soon as you turn your back, they're going to pull a weapon and shoot you, and that's what dude did. And it did. He tried to say stand your ground, but it didn't work because in the video, the guy wasn't moving toward him anymore. He was moving away from him, and he got convicted. He's in jail right now. But still, the man lost his life. He died on a convenience store floor. He staggered back into the convenience store and fell unconscious on the floor of the convenience store. Now, who the hell want to die on the floor of a convenience store in front of your child? And that's because people don't always understand the law. So now that you pass this in Ohio, some people think I can shoot whenever I want to shoot now. You know, oh, stand your ground. That means I can stand my ground anywhere. They don't even really understand the law. It changes the mentality, right? And I think in a dangerous way, but that's just my opinion. Let's go back to the phones. Hey, good morning. Welcome to the show.
I'm on the line.
You on the line. Good morning, brother. How are you?
What's going on this anime? How you doing, man?
Hey, how you doing, brother? Welcome.
All right, I couldn't help but think, man. I've been thinking about this for since I was like 14, though. Like, am I right or wrong in saying that the Constitution, the United States Constitution, supersedes everything when we're talking about laws of the land, right?
In some cases, yeah. Yes, it does.
I even looked it up. I said, like, what law it supersedes the Constitution? And they said none, because the Constitution is usually referred to as permanent clause or something like that. I don't know. Anyways, really what I was curious about is the Second Amendment to the Constitution clearly says that the right to bear arms should not be infringed. I looked up the word infringe. I don't see how any of these state laws can get off and how they fly in the first place if the Constitution clearly states that, you know, the right to bear arms should not be infringed upon. That's my only little note.
Yeah, but the thing, I think is more complicated than that, right? Like, you got some Second Amendment people that's like, that means that there should be no law that in any way can stop me from doing what I want to do when it comes to a firearm. But what we also got to say and understand.
Well, it clearly just says well, I'm going to read it word for word. I got the Constitution right here in front of me. It says, Amendment number 2, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. So to me, that means, like, it really don't matter what you want to interpret me having my gun as. Like, I get the right to bear it.
Right. I hear you. But what I'm saying is the Constitution itself is an organic document that was made to be amended as our cultures change. When they wrote that, most folks was running around here with flintlocks. They had no conception of being able to have a 100-round magazine. So when the technology changes and the culture changes and the society changes, so should our interpretation of the Constitution, in my opinion.
I mean, I get that, but let's keep it specifically geared towards the guns. So it's nothing stopping nobody else from getting 100-round drums or 30 clips or sticks or, you know what I'm saying, semi-autos and nothing like that. It's people in their convictions not wanting to own weapons for whatever reason or not having the money. You know, them sound like regular old personal problems to me.
Well, Anime, let me put it to you this way. You don't have the right to go and have a bazooka.
Right.
Okay, then. But that's an arm. You got the right to bear arms.
But we ain't really dealing with people going around here blasting shit with bazookas. I'm sorry, blasting ish with bazookas, though. We talking about, guns.
We're talking about firearms, the right to bear arms. Some people think that the government should not bar you from having a missile. But you can't have it. It's illegal for you to have it.
Exaggerated, you know what I'm saying?
It's not exaggerated. It's not exaggerated. It depends on interpretation. Some people interpret it that if I wanted to have any weapon whatsoever for my personal protection, I should be able to have it. But the government won't let you allow it. You can't have a bazooka if you want to.
Like, it's more like, I ain't trying to go back and forth and argue with you or nothing. I'm just saying it's kind of like flying away from what I'm trying to say, though. Like, the Constitution clearly states it shouldn't be infringed upon. The word infringe means that it shouldn't be made, I forget the exact meaning, but basically that you can't undermine it, basically, is what it is. You can't write laws, can't undermine what this is all about right here for the people that keep their arms. Now, if we as a society dictate like bazookas and missile launchers is out of the question, okay, then that's out of the question. But the right to bear arms as far as guns and, you know what I'm saying, bullets, I'm still not seeing that argument.
Yeah, but I hear what you're saying, man. But there are some people who feel like you're infringing upon my rights. Why can't I have an RPG? I need one for personal protection. What's the difference between an RPG?
I'm one of those people that feel like, yeah, if you can afford an RPG and you want an RPG, you should be able to have one. But that's besides the point.
No, that is the point.
Like, why is it that what I'm trying to stress to the people is that why is it that everybody not having a gun? Every single body put a gun in everybody's hand. What?
Why can't everybody have an RPG?
That's it. I think they should if they can afford it. Hey, let me call you back, though, Nate.
All right, thanks for the call. Cool, appreciate it, Anime. No, I'm trying to live somewhere. I ain't trying to be difficult. I mean, if I am, I am. But logically, what I'm telling you is that the Constitution is open to interpretation. People interpret it different ways. All these people run around here. There's so many people that's been led astray. Oh, I'm a strict interpretationist. That's the Constitution was written to be an organic document. You know what that means? That means that as society changes, so can the document. That's the reason why we have amendments to the Constitution, because society changes, technology changes, the culture changes, and so should this framework, this document. It was made to be that way. In fact, that might be the most genius thing about it. So when you hear these Republicans run around, oh, the strict contortionists, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. And in terms of the right to bear arms, how far you want to take this? I want to have a tank. I need a personal tank in my driveway to protect me from the tyranny of the government, but you can't get that, can you? So if there's certain weapons that are on a list that the government says you can't have because they are weapons of mass destruction, what I would say is that a 100-round magazine should be on that list as well. Reason you can't get your hands on some of these weapons is because they are weapons of mass destruction. You can kill a lot of people at one time. Same thing with a 100-round drum magazine. You can kill a lot of people at one time. You don't need all that. That's not infringement on your right because you can't get your hands on a 100-round drum magazine, which of course you can right now. But I would say that if we've got a big list of weapons that American citizens cannot have, I would put that on that list. It don't stop you from hunting. It don't stop you from personal protection, because any human being that it takes 100 rounds to kill, you shouldn't be killing them. Let them live. They special. Any of God's beasts that it takes 100 rounds to kill, they shouldn't be killed. It's special. So what do you need how is that infringing upon your rights? Because somebody says put a trigger lock or you can't have access to a 100-round magazine. It doesn't. But these are some of the ridiculous arguments that big money, the big gun lobby makes, and they make successfully because they want to protect their industry. To me, it makes no sense whatsoever. But again, let's go back to the phones. Hey, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Hey, good morning, Nate. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. What's up, Brian? Good morning to you.
Well, good morning. I just been listening to these various flows, and I think that we end up with partial information, and it can make an intelligent person dangerous because they don't necessarily know everything. I don't know everything, so there could be times where I'm dangerous. But let me say something about the Constitution. First of all, while I do think that it is a document that you can use to defend certain rights and stuff like that, let's just remember that when it was written, it didn't recognize Black people and women. So let's just start with that. Document was not written to protect the rights of all who were on this land. And it was written on the bones of the indigenous population here. So that's the start of this. It's not for us. It had to be amended later based on us fighting for basic human rights, which we still don't have. So that's the first part. The second part, if you're going to analyze the Constitution, it protects the right to bear arms. It doesn't govern the use of them. And these are measures with the Stand Your Ground law that talk about the use of them. And the use of them under these new provisions, there's no one with an ounce of sense that cannot say that this is aimed against Black people primarily, and brown people and other marginalized groups secondarily. Every gun law that is a restriction has come from Black people trying to use them in America. And every time a white person goes out and kills a whole bunch of people, they're never deemed terrorists. They're lone wolves. They've lost their minds. They don't even call them criminals, let alone terrorists. When a Black person might shoot one person, or has allegedly shot one person, or an Arab have allegedly shot one person, look at how that's used. Look at how the bombing that just took place over the holidays, how the wording and the headlines switched when it turned out that this was a white dude who was listening to right-wing conspiracy theories. Now, that incendiary device that he had is an arm. Technically, by the Constitution, he has a right to bear that arm. However, he does not have the right to use that arm in the way that he did. So this is where exactly what you said, Nathan. The Constitution is not some fixed thing. It's interpreted, and it's interpreted by the victors. It's interpreted by the ruling regime, which in this case is a white supremacist one. So let's stop pretending like this is some clean document that is basically the Bible of humanity in the United States. BS. It's a document that was written to claim the land that was stolen, that people were murdered on, and to justify the establishment of a regime that didn't recognize Black people and women. That's what the Constitution is. That's what the Star Spangled Banner is, an acknowledgement of those things. So, anyway, I just think that we really have to, like you were saying and other people have been saying, you cannot look at laws in a vacuum. You have to look at them in the context of history. If you think Trayvon Martin, and I'm not saying you do, of course, but if you live in a world where you believe Trayvon Martin was an exception to the rule, you crazy. And that's why I run around here tooled up. And as somebody who is tooly, I still think this Stand Your Ground law is a L for Black folks. So that's it, Nathan. I appreciate you taking the call. And like many people say, love the show. Watch it almost every day. It's like my morning coffee. So take care.
Take care, Brian. I appreciate it. That's Brian Taylor right there. 513-873-7134. Let's go back to the phones. Hey, good morning. Welcome to the show.
I'm back on?
Yeah, you back on, brother. Who is this?
Man, this anime again. So my fault, man. I had to bust a move real quick.
It's all good,
I ain't
anime.
gonna take up too much of your time.
What's on your mind?
So basically, I never really got to my misunderstanding for real. The heart of my misunderstanding. So, but I'm not saying that it's all right to go and do mass murder and shit like that. Like, man, you know what I mean? Defend yours, and by all means, do it to the extreme. Wipe out your enemy if they come out, leave them no quarter. But what I'm trying to stress is that if I have the right to bear arms, where in the hell is it a CCW coming into play? Anything CCW, acronym for carrying concealed weapon. Oh, that's really the meat of what I'm trying to get to. Like, if I got the right to bear it, what's up?
Right. Again, a lot of people make that argument. You know,
I'm sorry, you breaking up a whole bunch. I'm not sure.
Yeah, you might have to hang up, man, to hear me. Somebody said I was having some issues. I'll answer your question when you hang up.
It though, man.
Hey, Anime, thanks for the call, man.
All right, thank you.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I can't disagree with you in the sense that there's people that make that argument. Like I said, you know, when it comes to some certain amendments, what I've observed is some people are what they call strict constructionists, right? Strict interpretation of law, no deviation. When it comes to the other things, they're open to a wide interpretation because it fits their own political or personal viewpoint. So there's people that make that argument like, well, why should I have a CCW when the Second Amendment says this? Well, the Second Amendment is a document that's organic and open to interpretation. And the states are open to their own interpretations and they can set their own laws as well. I ain't got no problem with it. I don't trust modern day Americans. Like, do you really trust modern day Americans to be able to bear arms, to conceal arms with no documentation whatsoever? I haven't seen anything in our culture that would make me trust that. Nothing whatsoever. And you got a lot of white fragility and a lot of white fright out there. White folks that really have no connection with the black community. They're watching Fox News, they're watching the internet, and they're getting a whole lot of distorted viewpoints about us, and they're afraid. And a person that's scary, I don't want to deal with no scary people. I don't want no scary people around me. A scary person will get you messed up faster than anything else. Oh, you all super scared and paranoid, stay away from me because you're going to get me effed up. Scary people are dangerous. When humans get scared, when humans feel like they're afraid, that's when you start getting Black Wall Street, Tulsa. That's what the crux of that is. You know what I'm saying? Let's water it all the way down. So I don't see nothing good about it. And I think it's unnecessary. You know, we're moving in the wrong direction in this state. We'd have more and tighter restrictions and reforms so that people that have mental illness, people that have a history of doing bad things can be prevented from getting their hands on guns legally. I mean, if that's the case, then what about felons? You know, in some states, if you're a felon, you can't own a concealed and carry permit. Is that fair? There's nothing in the Constitution that says that you can't own it. But yeah, you don't hear anybody arguing against that. So it's all about interpretation, Anime, and how you interpret things. You know what I'm saying? Some people interpret things one way and some people interpret things another way. It's just what it is, man. But Brian says something that's right. I mean, that interpretation is controlled by the victors. Who's ever in control determines the interpretation. He's right about that. It is what it is. Oh, shit. People going hard in here? April writes, we already are victims. What up, Grizz? He writes, strap up. What's up, Grizz? Grasson writes, I might join now that Joe Mallory is president and the head of the snake is gone. Head of the snake. TNT writes, BR, your spineless governor was going to move this direction anyway. This is the same guy that thinks that Trump should keep fighting to be president. So it was a stress to think he was going to have a conscience. I agree. Mike DeWine is who he is. Ain't no changing him. He is who he is. Half the ones running around strapped up aren't protecting our women and children, right? Somebody's going to get killed. Like I said, I talked to a black female many years ago and on the radio, and she told me this story about how she got into a road rage incident. And it was just like that movie Unhinged. It was a white dude that followed her, and she turned into the parking lot of the Cincinnati Zoo over in Avondale. Dude turned into the parking lot of the Cincinnati Zoo, got out of his car, and like flexed his weapon, like showed her his weapon, all over some parking ish. And like I said, people have different levels of awareness interpretation. People are going to be reading, oh, expansion stand your ground law. Oh, I can kill a mofo now. People run around talking about, I wish somebody would. Well, they mean that. There's people that's frustrated. There's people that's unhappy with their lives. There's people that blame the gays and the transgenders and the Jews and the blacks for their situation. There's people dealing with mental illness and in combination of dealing with drug abuse. It's people that's got all kind of issues driving around the streets of Cincinnati, driving around the streets of Hamilton County, tooling around the streets of Ohio, just waiting for somebody to make the mistake to cross them. And now the largely white male Republican leadership in the state legislature has now given them a legal protection to do something that they might have been already thinking about doing anyway. Don't nobody want to go to jail. Most people want to do something to get away with it. So, my thing is that if I got to kill one of God's creatures, then I got to do what I got to do. I'm not going to sit around crying about it. I ain't going to think about it. If you forced me to do that, you had what was coming. But I don't have to get enemies. Everybody don't feel that. Saying. And ever since Trayvon Martin, the Republicans, the white male Republicans in the state legislature of Ohio have been trying to pass a stand your ground measure. Ever since then. This ain't nothing new. They've been trying it and trying it and trying it. But now they finally got the right person in the governor's house to pass it. And that's Mike DeWine. And it's probably hoping with everything going on with COVID that people really won't focus on it and, will get caught up with some other things. But Janice writes, old boy drop trying to make something out of nothing. He can't get it together rationally. Gee. Jesse writes, LOL, stop lying, drop. Oh, people ain't feeling drop this morning. He was on one this morning. He was on one. Dale writes, keep it on point, Nate. I tried. Dion writes, but the Second Amendment don't apply to black people equally. Right. None of the laws apply to black people equally. They never have. They never have. This whole idea, well, black people can get guns too. Now you should. I'm all about that. I'm pro Second Amendment. And see, that's the other thing. People think that if you're pro Second Amendment, that means that you don't believe in any kind of gun reforms. That ain't true. I'm pro Second Amendment. I exercise the right to bear arms. I promote that to my audience. I support people that, create CCW classes and these opportunities for your own personal protection. At the same time, we need some gun law reform. And we need to be holding the gun manufacturers responsible. See, until we do then, we keep talking about the qualified immunity with police. But what about the qualified immunity when it comes to the gun manufacturers? It was Baby Bush administration that passed basically qualified immunity for the gun manufacturers. They are manufacturing a product that's killing a lot of people. They are manufacturing a product that people are using a way that they didn't intend it to do. And yet they're completely immunized from civil lawsuits. That's part of the problem as well. But again, the gun lobby got so much money, man. They got so much influence. Rolando writes, that's not what he said. Dion writes, what is he talking about? Maurice writes, okay, check this out. If you classify yourself as an African American, you don't have rights. Research the reality and truth. That's why white folks get away with the things they do when it comes to us. TNT writes, it did not. Dion writes, Castillo in Minnesota is also another example, and the NRA said nothing for black people. Yeah, here was a man who was a licensed CCW holder. He's sitting in the car with his family, children in the back seat, gets stopped by the police, right? He tells the officer, hey, I'm a CCW license holder. I got a weapon in the glove compartment. The officer freaks the F out. Freaks out. I don't know what to do now, right? Shoots this man point blank and kills him in front of his family and basically walks. NRA has not said a word about it. And if they did, it was like a whisper, and that was it. So, what people have to understand is, like what Brian said, a lot of these gun laws are really it's really a front for white white fear of a black planet, fear that black people are taking over, fear that you moving into their cul-de-sacs. I'm black. A lot of the black people I know, they is about trying to build Black Wall Street and live a good life and raise their kids. But it's the Karens and Darrens that keep projecting their own feelings onto us as if we feel the same way you do. We do not. We just want to be left the F alone, quite honestly. You see it when he's Karen and Darren. I saw a Karen in video where this woman thought that somebody stole her cell phone, right? So what does she do? What does she do? She goes into the hotel lobby, runs after a minor, puts her hands on the minor. Now, I watched the video, and I'm not like some super big old tough guy that's out here throwing haymakers. But if I'm walking through the streets and you grab one of my children, you're gonna get laid out. Man, woman, or child. You getting, well, not child, but man, woman, you getting laid out. And then we'll talk about it. That's a bad thing to do, to run up and put your hands on somebody's child. I thought that the father involved was super. He deserves a medal. Because I'm knocking your ass out on sight, period. What? You getting a business straight then and there, and then we can wait for the police, and I'm going to tell them, this person tried to kidnap my child. I'm going to go all the way there with it. You tried to kidnap my child. I don't know who you are. That's bad business right there. But she's so caught up in her white privilege that because she lost her phone, she feel like she can just grab black people and spin them around and pat them down and all this kind of. You ain't going to pat nobody down. You better call the popo. You ain't the police. That brother deserves a medal because I'm knocking your ass straight on your ass, man or woman. That's not a good thing to do. You're going to see a whole different side of me. Who do you think you are? And then guess what, family? They found her iPhone. She left it in a damn Uber. And that's the kind of mentality that you want to expand the stand your ground law for? If she had a weapon, she might have shot them. Talking about some more, I thought they had my cell phone. Huh? I don't trust them. I don't trust none of them. Being honest with you, I don't trust them. Let me see more comments coming in. What's up, Luddy? Anza writes, the law applies to white privilege, period. We know that. You should just be a preacher, Nathan, because you're preaching right now. Nothing in this is the same for black people. Yeah. I don't know what Drop was talking about, but he liked to stir the pot, man. I appreciate him for that. Stirring that pot this morning. Jihad writes, I'm in Florida, never seen stand your ground law benefits blacks. Look up Trevor Dooley. Trevor Dooley. Okay, I'm gonna look it up right now. Trevor Dooley. I don't know why that sounds vaguely familiar. Trevor Dooley. Remember Trevor Dooley, the Valrico man who invoked stand your ground? After the 2010 shooting of his neighbor, Dooley was convicted of manslaughter and later won a new trial. Since then, his case hasn't moved. Let me see. Okay. That's interesting. Huh. I'll check that out, man. I'll check that out. Appreciate that. Ex parte is really foul. Brent writes, good morning, Nathan Ivey is checking in from Dallas, Texas. Well, thinking about Dallas, man, I'm thinking about Atlanta. I want to say it again. Everything is on Atlanta on the national stage right now. Everything is on Atlanta. I'll say it again. I know there's a lot of black people that care about a black agenda. Your black agenda is on the line in Atlanta. You're not going to get a black agenda. There's not going to be any serious conversation about a black agenda. It ain't going to be Ice Cube's agenda. It won't be Puffy's agenda. It won't be anybody's black agenda. It won't be the CBC, that's Congressional Black Caucus, because they've already got many of the elements in the so-called black agendas that has been sitting on the table of Mitch McConnell for years. He refuses to acknowledge and definitely won't bring it up for a vote. It ain't going to happen. You can say what you want about the Democrats and Republicans, but you're not even going to have a conversation as long as Mitch McConnell is in control. And that's what's at stake here, family, if you don't know. It's a numbers game. If the Democrats, and again, I got a lot of problems with the Democrats, but I see the parties for what they are. If the Democrats don't win both of these two seats, that's the seat that's currently held by Perdue and Loeffler, who just doing some research. Go on YouTube and research about these individuals and decide as to whether these are the kind of people that you think represent your interest. And even though they're in Atlanta as senators, I mean, they make decisions that'll have an impact all over the country, in each and every state and all the territories. So it matters. Both of these individuals come from a lot of money. Kelly Loeffler, and again, I don't hold this against her. Hey, you made your money. Hey, nothing wrong with that. It's what you do and with your money. It's how you conduct yourself once you get it. Are you a member of the community that really matters, or are you just all about greed? And by all indications, these two individuals are all about greed. After getting some preliminary briefings about the COVID-19 and what the impact was going to be, both of these individuals decided to cash in, so to speak. It says a lot about them. And if anybody's like, oh, well, Mitch McConnell, he's a better friend to Joe Biden, please stop it. See it for what it really is. If Mitch McConnell maintains his supremacy as the Senate Majority Leader, it's a wrap. That means he is going to dictate all of the legislation that gets out of the Senate, as he's been doing. That means he's going to dictate all of the people that are confirmed in terms of federal judges, Supreme Court judges, administration appointees. All of that is going to have the filter of Mitch McConnell through it. Now, if you're happy with that, it's all good and gravy. If you're not happy with that, then, all eyes on Atlanta. This is right up there in importance. It's a couple steps below it, but it's very important in terms of the efficacy of the current, administration elect, and that's Biden and Kamala Harris. And it's just really a political game. Now, I want to say this again for people so you understand. Mitch McConnell, if he's able to, is going to try to do everything he can so that the next 2 years are, number one, not effective in terms of Joe Biden doing anything that's going to have a real impact. And number two, he wants to grind down the economy. That's the reason why he don't want you to get $2,000 checks, because he wants you to be in hardship. He wants for people to be to have a rough time of it. He wants your economic situation to be bad. Why? Because in 2 years, they're going to run on it. And by them, I'm talking about the Republicans. Republican congressmen and women will say, look at what Joe Biden didn't do. He said he was going to do all these great things. He didn't do anything. We told you, vote for us. When we get in office, we'll change it. It's a game that goes on and on and on. And I'm tired of it. So we got to end the gridlock. The gridlock is not good for the people because you're not getting anything out of it. You ain't going to get a damn thing. Joe Biden got this huge black agenda. A lot of it make a lot of sense. If you read it, if you haven't already read it, you probably agree with a lot of it. Ain't none of that ish going to happen if Mitch McConnell's the Senate Majority Leader. And I mean none of it. And it doesn't matter what Joe Biden thinks. It don't matter what the intentions are. It don't matter what his heart is. It don't matter if it's life and death. It's not going to happen because Mitch McConnell is not going to give Joe Biden any successes that they can run on. And that's what it is. It's straight up politics. The people don't matter. Sean writes, hey, Nathan, do you still have CCW contact? Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the weather's a little bit out. We went to the outdoor gun range. It was a good time. Now, we want to make sure that we're in the right class because the last time we went, we were in like an advanced class, and we need that beginner, maybe intermediate kind of class. But we had a good time, and I learned a whole lot. So for sure. Toy writes, one point of clarification on juries is a problem, but we also don't show up for jury duty. So I can't pick you to put on a jury if you aren't there. True that. Let's go back to the phones. Hey, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Nathan Choppers.
Hey, what's up, Forte?
Hey, first of all, I'm going to get my Happy New Year into the crew. Still early in the year. And secondly, brother, stand your ground is one of my favorite topics because it stemmed from Southern Jim Crow laws to make it easier for Caucasians to kill minorities. So if you think those laws are going to be fair, you out of your mind. Now, you may be able to stand your ground against another black person and get the courts to give you some swag. But when you go up against they people, It's going to be phonetically, like you keep mentioning Trayvon. I mean, God knows that's a hurt topic for all of us. You get a clown who encroaches on a person, start a fight, allegedly start losing the fight, shoot somebody in the state of Florida, let them go. That's Jim Crowism, guys. Don't get it twisted. On paper, it might sound good, but in reality, it is anti-minority, period. It is what it is. So everybody needs to open up their mind. It's not about us having a gun battle. I haven't heard the whole show today when some brother said that they got us outgunned. There ain't no doubt about that. Stand your ground is talk about individual on individual. So that's a whole nother zip code. So I just want to get that in, man. And I have no love for our governor. I'll never forgive Beaver Creek. It is what it is. And we just need to open up our eyes and understand that it's 2021. And in some of the mindsets, it might as well be 1921 in this country. So I got a story I can't even tell you right now about a brother who brought a gun up in Columbus, brand new gun, no bullets, got pulled over, and they arrested him. So, I mean, this is what they do. This is what they do. So CCW is a good thing because at least it gives you a legal way to carry your weapon. But at the same time, let me say it to you like this. Law enforcement all over America with the best training on the planet is prematurely killing people. So what do we expect Joe Bag of Donuts with racist overtones or street swag or just straight out bigotry to do with a gun, and they can use that law to their advantage? That's just food for thought. So, I just want to get that in, man. This is going to be a bad day for the home team. Don't get it twisted.
Hey, Brother Forte, thanks for the call, man. Happy New Year to you.
Yes, sir.
Most def. And that's a brother that teaches CCW classes. That's a brother that's a police officer. And you just heard it from him. So don't take my word for it. He's the expert. Take his word for it. He made an excellent point. You got police officers who are highly trained, who are overreacting in these situations and killing people prematurely. What do you expect, as he put it, Joe Bag of Donuts with no training at all to do? It's a bad deal, period. And it's unnecessary. You can already protect yourself. They make it seem like, well, if somebody pulls a gun on me, I can't do anything. You could already protect yourself. You already have it. They just want to kill people. They want to give, this is my opinion, white people the ability to act on their fear of a black planet. This is my opinion. I know this is bombastic or whatever you want to call it, but that's just how I straight up look at it. They want to give white people the ability to shoot and kill us and get away with it legally. That's it. Tell me, oh, well, you want to stand your ground into your car. Why? Where's the market for this? Where are the cases where people got killed because they were trying to retreat, but then they got shot while they're retreating? Show me the cases. I'm not saying they're not there. I haven't heard any of the cases. This is white male fear of a black planet. Y'all getting too uppity. Moving into the cul-de-sac, starting your businesses. Who you think you are? Talking ish, talking back. Oh, we got something for you. That's all it is. Straight up, I can't see any other rationale because you already have a CCW. You can already protect yourself. And you should have a right to retreat. If you don't have to kill another human being, it's not going to put your life in jeopardy. You should retreat. Get the hell out of there. We don't need private citizens with no training busting shots in crowded areas because I felt like my life was in jeopardy. I mean, do you know how you could interpret that? Like, I could leave this show right now and walk up to a crowded area and just, he's got his hands in his pocket. I didn't know what he had his hands in his pocket. Show me your hands. Now, I know that sounds crazy, but I've seen videos, man, where Karens and Darrens were like blocking the entrance of black people to go into like residences. I saw a video most recently where a black woman literally was trying to walk into an apartment and a white woman was standing there like this, blocking it. Like, show me your ID and tell me who you are and who you're going to see. Like literally physically, like I said, don't do that to me because I'm a fail that test. I'm going in your mouth off top, going straight in your mouth, especially with my family. We ain't even going to talk about it. And then we can just deal with the authorities the way we need to. But I'm the wrong one to play with like that physically. You can say what you want to say. You can talk all the ish you want to. I'll just laugh it off and I'll save you. But put your hands on me? Oh, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. So I applaud some of these people I see in these videos, man, because I ain't having it. And I'm with my children. Oh, man, I'm going to immediately think you trying to kidnap one of my children. That's what I'm going to tell the popo. I laid him down because he was trying to steal, kidnap my son. And I'm going to get away with it too. Or I won't. Either way. Okay, I appreciate it. Appreciate the love. Yeah, that was Brother Forte. Yeah, we living in dangerous times, man. And again, people are fear-based. A lot of what we're seeing motivated is fear. It's fear and a lack of knowledge and experience. People say, well, they hate us. Some do, but a lot of it is fear. They're afraid of the unknown. They're afraid of what they think that melanated people would do if the tables turn or if we move on up like George and Weezy. A lot of it is fear-based. It's fear of the unknown. Like black people living in this world, we have no choice but to interact with white folks. We got no choice. We have to. The privilege that they have is that there are certain places they can go where they ain't got to deal with us at all. And there's some people that grow up in environments where they have no real interaction. So how are they getting their information about us? From the TV? That's distorted as a motherfucker. Everybody ain't rapping. Everybody ain't selling drugs. And black people, generally speaking, are not a threat to you. I'll say it again. Black people just want the American dream, the black American dream. They want to make some money, raise their family, eat what they want to eat, get some internet, play some video games, whatever they want to do, live their hobbies, live a good life, go to Cancun. That's all they want to do. You know what I'm saying? That's all they want to do. They want to go from A to B. They want to go to work, come home, cook dinner, go to sleep, work out. Real simple. Let me go to the phones. Hey, good morning. Welcome to the show. Oh, we just lost you. It's a 410 number. Call me back. You got me for another 12 minutes and I got to make a move. There's a lot of stuff going on today. Hey, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Hey, good morning, Nathan. It's Nicole. How you doing?
Hey, Nicole. How you doing? Great. I'm doing great.
I'm doing good this morning. Hey to everybody. I just wanted to call in on the, stand your ground topic today. To me, this is all just, it's a heavy day. Like my heart is heavy and, I'm very concerned about what's ahead. There is a lot of work that's going to have to go into repealing this, overturning this law, because this can't stand in Ohio. And I don't want to see a life taken as an example. I hope that something can be done to reverse this before anyone is the victim of this, because like many callers have already said, that this is not a benefit to Black people by no means. And we've seen it with Trayvon Martin. We've seen it with Marissa Alexander. Stand your ground is supposed to be the ability to or not needing to retreat. And the issue with Trayvon Martin, and keep in mind, I've met the family, the mother, Sabrina, the father, Tracy, his brother, wonderful people. I've been down in Miami and seen them firsthand and heard, to this day, the pain that they have of losing their son, it hits them just as hard to this day as if it happened just yesterday. This is no easy, this is nothing that any family wants to go through. And I'm just recalling, the case with the Trayvon Martin situation, and the way Zimmerman was able to get off was because he was able to say that Trayvon Martin basically was taking his head and beating it on the concrete, like, and that was the portion where, you know, he was going to lose his life if he did not pull out his gun, even though Trayvon Martin did not have a gun. But no one could discredit what Zimmerman was saying because there was no eyewitnesses. And this is the other component that's a problem. Who speaks for the dead, right? It was people that claimed they heard something. There was even some audio of the final seconds. And in those final seconds, they were saying, like, you could hear like a scream. And then a few seconds later, you heard a gun pop. You know what I'm saying? And I remember the mother saying, that was my son screaming. And then Zimmerman was saying, no, that was me screaming for my life. You know what I mean? And so it was just enough. It was just enough doubt raised for and then they showed the bruises on his face. And it was like little minor scratches. It didn't look like nothing. Trayvon Martin was shot in the heart. You know what I'm saying? And then when you think about how it all just came together, where he's just coming home from the store, trying to hurry up and get back to see the All-Star game, and it's raining and it's getting dark, and this man is following him in this gated community that his father's girlfriend lives in, basically just feel like you don't belong here. Why are you in my community with a hoodie? You look like somebody, these people that's been breaking in or whatever, trying to take the law into his own hands. So this is like a get out of jail card for vigilantes, gun enthusiasts. Think about the climate that we're in right now, where, you know, the person who ran over the girl in Charlottesville was from Ohio. I mean, we've seen people in Trump rallies right here just punch people in the face. People are so volatile right now. This is like such irresponsible legislation. I can't even believe anyone would do this right now. Just absolutely. And not to, you know, mention what happened in Dayton and how he's supposed to be coming up with legislative bills to have more responsible gun legislation, and you went the opposite and and made it more easy for people to use their guns and get away with it than to hold people accountable. It's like just ass backwards legislation. And then you think about how stand your ground, because they used to try to, you know, prepare it in a way like, well, this will help domestic violence people, and it don't. Because in the case of Marissa Alexander, like the gentleman said earlier, she was just shooting up in the air warning shots to keep, you know, her husband or boyfriend from, you know, abusing her. And she still ended up getting 20 years in Florida. She ended up getting out in 3 because it was such an outcry of double standard and everything else that, you know, she ended up getting out of 3. But just to even have to serve 3 years in jail or prison, it's just like, why did she have the ability to stand her ground? And then what they said, the law was never meant for self-defense in that way, which you would think possibly that would make sense. But no, for domestic violence victims, especially if you know the perpetrator or if it's a husband or whatnot, it doesn't apply the same way. The law is much tougher. It'd be different if it was somebody you didn't know. Then it would work more in the favor of the victim, which is ass backwards. But then you have to go back to the source of who created these laws. Who created the laws is organizations like ALEC, American Legislative Exchange Council, and this is a group of legislators and corporations. And they come together and they just throw out laws or whatever. They just pick it out of a box, and that's what it is. And these legislators, because they're a member of ALEC, they'll push it. You know what I mean? And there's no rhyme and reason to stand your ground. They like you were saying earlier, there's haven't been any tests or research to show how this benefit. There's no purpose for it, you know, other than like what you've been saying all along, is to comfort white fear. This a primitive American fear that has ever since the black man was considered the rapist of white women. You know, it's always been laws to keep you all in check, to keep us all in check. You know what I mean? And this is just another one. But what this is going to do is get people killed. And then there is no justice. We're already battling that front with police and their immunity or their ability to kill with impunity. And now you're giving this to everyday regular people who now they can say they fear for their lives, who now can say after they done killed you, no one can speak for you. People aren't wearing body cameras. You know, the only reason why that situation in Florida where the gentleman was taken up for his girlfriend when a white man approached her and was trying to start an altercation with her, only reason why he didn't get the benefit from standing your ground because there was a camera and it also showed that you still have to use the same amount of force. So the man didn't have a gun, and just because he pushed him, that wasn't on the same force like he was about to die. In the case of George Zimmerman, he tried to say my head was being knocked up against the concrete. If he would have kept, I would have died. So I had to shoot him. So it has to be some sort of equivalent of force using. Are you in a situation where you're about to die? Well, stand your ground can apply. But people that are going to use it, they don't know that. And so depending on the type of lawyer they have or whatever the situation, some people going to get away with it. Some people going to learn they're not going to get away with it, but it's not going to bring the life back that they took. You know what I mean? And it's just going to be a lot of people that is, it's just a lot of people that didn't have to die that's going to die because of some trigger happy individual. And that's what just has me like on level 10 right now. You know, we have to like regroup. And there's a lot of organizations, not just the Cincinnati NAACP. We partner with a lot of organizations and all throughout Ohio, other chapters. And so, you know, we're not alone in this. There's a lot of people that, you know, do not agree with this legislation. And so, you know, collectively, we're going to fight for this. And it's still going to take individuals and people. And when we're making a call of action, we need people to act. We need people to, you know, stand up and make their voices heard, because it is the collective. It is the people that, you know, these legislators, they worry about, just like these Trump supporters got these legislators on their heels, having them doing things against the Constitution and democracy. It isn't so much Trump. It's the people that support him. But we have to come out just as strong, and just as boisterous and not taking no for an answer, especially when our lives are on the line. It's our lives that's on the line. So we got to fight for that. So that's all I got. I'm not going to ramble on and on and on, but thanks, brother.
Yeah, appreciate the call. Appreciate the passion. That's TNT. You know, she care about the community. You already know. So I can hear it, man. I mean, a lot of smart people know what time it is. They already know. And it's a time, you know, it's really about the collective. Like, I'm not putting anything on any one person or organization, because I think that's unfair. We do that too much. What you gonna do? What they gonna do? No, it's what am I gonna do? What are you gonna do? That's what the question we be asking ourselves. Not what the NAACP is gonna do or some other organization, but what can you do with them? What can you do in conjunction with them? And what are you willing to do as an individual? That's what time it is. I'm inside the Chop Shop here. Good morning, everybody. Crystal, Ms. D, Drop, D Wizzle, Nate Sheriff McGuffey was sworn in before yesterday's public swearing in. I back her ideology on criminal justice reform. Sheriff McGuffey's plan is hella better than Bruce Trump Bauer. Yeah, I read some of the public statements that's in the media, and again, she said she's gonna do what she was gonna do. This is what she said she was gonna do on this show. This is what she said she was gonna do during the campaign. Here's a list of her initiatives. First 90 days, health and safety in regard to COVID-19 is her number one priority. Decreasing use of force and thoroughly investigating these incidents when they occur. Start training on ethical policing, an initiative spearheaded by the Hamilton County Board of Commissioners. Active bystander training for all deputies and supervisors. Create a culture of de-escalation, making sure people feel comfortable with law enforcement regardless of their immigration status. Form a Citizens Advisory Review Board. Form a human resources unit and liaison unit. The one thing I don't see here, going to, you know, what is her plan to bring diversity? gender diversity, racial diversity to the command staff, the rank and file, however you look at it. I'm talking about the supervisors and all the folks that comprise the Humboldt County Sheriffs. She now oversees 900 employees. She also said that she's not going to notify ICE when someone who is undocumented is scheduled to be released. I think that's very, very smart in a lot of different ways. I'll treat every warrant of arrest, whether it's from jurisdictions in Ohio and other states and ICE, using those same constitutional requirements. So in the blurb, and again, I didn't watch the entire press conference. I have to go back and watch it for myself. But in the blurb that's in the WCPO, written by Abby Dawn, the one thing that I don't see that is on my radar screen is, what is her plan to diversify the Humboldt County Sheriff's Department? That was something that I hammered on and brought up to her every single time. And I take her for a word. I think that she will. I think she'll do exactly what she said she was going to do. And that's what I think. I think she'll do exactly what she said she's going to do, but it's going to take, as I said, the public's input and also some of that public pressure, however you want to look at it, to make sure these things are in the forefront, because I know how it goes. You get the job and it's different than what you thought it was going to be, or things happen. You might get, distracted or go in some different directions. So I was very happy to hear that. I was very happy to see that. And I'm glad that Bruce Hoffbauer is not the Hamilton County Sheriff. Just from what I gathered, the sum total of that campaign, we could do better. And I think that we did, quite honest. That's just my humble opinion. But again, thank you so much for being here this morning. I really appreciate each and every one of you. You could have been anywhere in the World Wide Web, but you chose to rock with me for a couple hours or sometime this morning. I appreciate you. Again, come up today at 1 p.m., Midday Juice with Ask Ashley. Coming up today at 7 p.m., Valley Service Podcast with Fast Pitch. Support CDM and what we're doing and what we do in the near future. Many more voices are coming very, very soon. I would say this month. Look for that. And I really appreciate all of your support, all right? Have an excellent rest of your day. I'm Nathan Ivey. And until tomorrow morning at 7:30 p.m., I'm out.
The Nathan Ivey Show is supported by listeners. Go to www.patreon.com/Nathan Ivey Show and help Nathan keep the show independent.
Yeah. Talking to my mirror like I love you so much. Curving on my critics like I heard you, so what? You can't kill my confidence, I think I'm the man. Tally all the I ever gave on my head. Lately I've been living like I can't take a loss. They ain't wanna help me, that's what made me a boss. You can't kill my confidence, I think I'm the man. We don't give a fuck, that's what they don't understand.
I'm back again like flu season. I broke records while loose leafing. I'm coming down my roof, leaving. Don't give a fuck, I don't care. Did the for my lonesome. No wonder now I'm on one. No shortcuts on that long run. All I really want is my share. Get on my God, on my totem, it's nothing. In the discussion, for the feelings I throw on my pen.